to certify the reliability, the safety, the effectiveness of our nuclear stockpile, and using science and physics and math and technology, we do not need explosive nuclear testing. So today, the site's underground laboratory is undergoing major mining and construction to provide enhanced capabilities for the subcritical experiments, ECSE. It's going to host two of the most capable weapons radiographic systems in the world. Together with these efforts, these machines will provide even greater certainty and data about performance of the U.S. nuclear stockpile, far better data than experts say than any information that could be gleaned if the U.S. were to break that moratorium and conduct explosive nuclear tests, either below ground or above ground, as the president and some of his orbit have advocated. For decades, the directors of the National Laboratory, Stratcom commanders, and secretaries of Defense and Energy have annually certified the military effectiveness of our stockpile and certified that it does not require a resumption of explosive testing with over 1,000 subcritical experiments, robust computer modeling, providing the data to support these positions. So, Admiral Carell, following up on a question I asked you at your nomination hearing, now that you've taken command, do you see any technical or strategic justification for resuming explosive testing? And do you agree with these data-informed assessments that it is unnecessary for the United States to resume explosive nuclear testing of any kind?
Senator, as you mentioned, I review an annual assessment of our existing testing capability and its ability to certify that our warheads are safe, secure, effective, and remain credible as a deterrent. And that process will continue. And there are exquisite capabilities associated with that. You mentioned many of those capabilities. In addition to that, the National Ignition Facility is another really important one that give us insights. As those warheads age, we need to continue to be vigilant about that. And I'll continue to provide my best military advice with respect for the need, should there be a need to resume any testing. But I stand by the letter that I endorse, most recently this last year, in terms of the sufficiency of testing. The only caveat I'd put on that is having the capability to resume additional testing should the need arise, that we posture ourselves to be able to do that.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you there, resuming, spending $1 billion to put us in a position to resume explosive testing after all the money that we have spent on the science so far with stockpile stewardship programs, enhanced capabilities for subcritical experiments, artificial intelligence for weapons design, productions of new pits to replace the aging ones. All of these initiatives, they will affect our certainty about our warhead performance and will be able to help us go forward. And so I believe we should be able to use those experiments to the safety of our American citizens, where you'll be testing this.
Thank you, Senator Rosen. Clearly, we have a disagreement on this subject between you and the witness. But thank you, ma'am.
Senator Wicker.
Senator Tuberville.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning. General Whiting, just a couple of updates. A move from Space Command. Securing a new military construction agent today, March 26th, is the deadline. Do we have any update on that?
Senator, thank you for the question. Our move to Huntsville is moving forward, and we are right now in final discussions with elements of the United States Air Force and the Army Corps of Engineers to pull together what the team of that construction agent will look like. I believe the Secretary of the Air Force, Secretary Mink, and I will memorialize that decision in the very near future. So I'm very happy that we're able to take advantage of the MILCON reform language that the committee inserted into the last National Defense Authorization Act, which is allowing us to build our new headquarters in a different way than we would have last year without that language.
Yeah. Existing facilities, what are you thinking about that? Or are you thinking of new facilities? Any update on that?
Yes, Senator. As we're building that new headquarters, that will take a few years. We are modifying existing facilities on Redstone Arsenal. And in fact, next month in April, we will do our first ribbon cutting on a top secret skiff that'll seat over 80 people. And then we will start moving personnel there to begin work at that level. So I'm happy at the progress that we're making, and that progress will continue over the next couple of years as we work to get a significant portion of our staff there, even while the permanent headquarters is being built.
Yeah. What's the timeline on that? My understanding was it 3 to 7 years? Is that correct?
For the permanent headquarters, Senator, I would expect right now that that facility will break ground next year and will come online likely in 2031. And then there'll be probably a year's worth of time that we're moving people into that facility. But that's the timeline we're currently looking at.
Personnel transition, any update on that, present, future?
Yes, Senator. So we have a small office that we've stood up there, about 20 people right now. And then by the end of this year, we are targeting that number to be closer to 200 people that will be working from Redstone, from our headquarters. Of course, that will be paced with the delivery of interim facilities that are appropriate to the security classification level we need, and that we have all of the appropriate IT networks. We are offering relocation incentives for our workforce in Colorado to consider moving to Alabama. We also are offering retention incentives because I need my workforce to stay with me in Colorado until their function is ready to move. And so those are some of the updates that we have as we're working the movement of personnel, Senator.
Talk about logistics for a second of Spacecom's mission. Air Force has over 10% of its aircraft dedicated to aerial refueling. Satellites have historically been built with no way to refuel here in the U.S., but the Chinese Communist Party demonstrated space refueling capabilities for the first time last year. Any recommendations for the future?
Senator, you note well in your question that our traditional domains, air, land, and sea, those military services that have lead there have extraordinary percentages of their force dedicated to enabling maneuver through sustainment and logistics. In fact, there's a great quote from Admiral Nimitz in World War II that he said, at-sea replenishment and refueling is what won World War II for the U.S. Navy, because they could continue to fight. And as you noted, in space, we launch typically a satellite with all of the fuel it's ever going to have. And every time we maneuver, we expend fuel. And so we always have to have this discussion. Should I maneuver even though it's going to take life off the end of that satellite? And that creates a psychology of scarcity across our enterprise where we don't enable tactical commanders to maneuver the way they might want to because we're concerned about the expenditure of fuel. So my